friends. I'm your host, Erin Port, and welcome to the Simple Purposeful Living podcast. Life can be overwhelming and busy, so once a week, I invite you to join me, and together we will make simple tweaks to uncomplicate the hard parts of our life so we can spend more time doing what we love. Hello, friends. I saw this quote the other day, and it made me chuckle. I only remember I needed something from the store when I got home. Isn't that so true? Last week, I totally forgot the pitas for our Euro supper. I mean, an essential ingredient until I got home from the store and I was so frustrated. It wasn't on the grocery list. I double checked. And so this is why I created the Erin's notepad for things like this, because I know that if I forget something at the store, it's kind of a big deal because we live in a small town. So it's not just like running up the road. It's a 15 to 20 minute ordeal, one direction to get the item. So I love writing what I need down so I don't forget it at the store. And the Erin's notepad was born out of that. It also makes a perfect gift. It was one of our best sellers last Christmas season because it's the perfect price point and you can help your friends remember all the things, especially during the busy holiday season. Plus, use code podcast for 10% off your order. Okay, well, let's get to the show. If you are watching on YouTube, then you can see that I am in my quote unquote office, but I'm actually still in my closet. It's a really cool Zoom background that I even tricked Scott with, but we are trying to do more of the YouTube thing. So if you're watching on YouTube, hey, if you're not, that's okay too. You can watch on all of your podcasting platforms. But I want to welcome you back to the Simple Purposeful Living podcast. Can you believe we're talking about the holiday season? I'm wearing my red sweater, but it's 80 degrees outside. So I'm going to probably switch after this because I'm already starting to sweat. But it's coming. Christmas is coming. Ready or not, it's November 5th, Election Day, and we're ready to get merry made easy. And so this entire podcast series is to help you focus on things that are light, joyful, and most importantly, simple. The series is packed with practical tips, tiny tweaks, and heartfelt encouragement so you can skip the stress, sidestep the Scrooge moments, because we all have them, and stay focused on what truly matters. Together, let's make room for more merry memories and keep the holiday spirit alive and ensure this holiday season is one you'll remember and enjoy. So let's get started. Along with this podcast series, there will be a weekly blog post, and I've made a Merry Made Easy holiday checklist, as well as holiday shopping made easy shopping checklist. So you can get all of that in the show notes, or you can go to simplepurposefulliving.com/holiday to download that for free today. And I'm telling you, it's going to help simplify your life. I made it for myself. It's been so helpful for me. I made it free for you too. Okay, so we're going to start by talking about planning, because here's the thing. I've heard this quote years ago. I think it was, I can't remember. You can email me and let me know who said it, but failing to plan is a plan to fail. And with 4 kids at home, I'm telling you, the Christmas season, all of the regular to-dos, plus then my son is playing high school basketball this year, plus all the holiday stuff. It's just a recipe for disaster if I don't make some simple plans. So I'm going to help you do that as well. And if you haven't noticed, Thanksgiving is super late this year. It's the very last week of November, which just squishes and compresses everything that we're going to try to do in the Christmas season. So it's going to take some planning and intention, but we're going to do that, and you're going to keep your merry magic. Okay. So number one thing, this is probably the most profound tweak you can make. The number one thing that I've done that has simplified my life and helped me to focus on what matters is to ask my family what matters to them. It's so easy, but it is so profound. I'm telling you, if you take no other tweaks away from this podcast, this is the tweak you need. Ask your family what matters to them. I'm always surprised at the things that they really gravitate towards. Number one, sibling gifts. My daughter has already purchased her first sibling gift. We started this because I wanted them to not just experience the joy of receiving, but I also wanted them to experience the joy of gift giving. With 4 kids, you could do definitely a gift exchange, but we prioritize this because I think they really put a lot of time and effort in. They really think about their siblings. It just helps their sibling bond. It's something they really look forward to. So this year we've upped the budget. They each get $30 for each sibling. And it is a heavy investment for Scott and I, but those are the first gifts minus the one gift that I give. If you've been around for a while, the other gift that I give, the very first gift of every holiday season, is our family photo book from the previous year. I need a deadline, friends. And this is the deadline I have. So when I order my Christmas cards, I order the photo book. My dad loves a photo mug, so I do all of that. But that deadline really helps, and that's the first gift. Then the second gift is the siblings gift. So they go around and they share all their gifts with each other. I'm telling you, it is the highlight of my Christmas as a mom. Like just seeing the care that they take in purchasing gifts for each other. So that's number one tradition my kids love. The other tradition happened by chance. And we're going to talk about this a little bit of leaving space for new traditions to blossom because you just never know. But the other tradition my kids love is our ornament showdown. Okay. So it's always been boys versus girls. I've loaded the idea that maybe we draw out of a hat and pick different teams this year, and it didn't go over well. My kids are like, that's not the tradition. So the girls had won every year until last year, and then the boys won. We always put the ornaments up anonymously on Instagram and in our group family text, and everybody votes. And that's how we get the winner. And then those ornaments actually go on our Christmas tree, and they are really fun to look back on. So we have 2 new Christmas ornaments every year, which I'm going to save because my kids have Christmas ornaments that they'll probably take with them when they leave the nest. And I will have these Christmas showdown ornaments. But I'm telling you, it literally started as like I bought a little ornament DIY kit in the dollar spot at Target. Anytime I introduce a competition with my family, it's game over. They're all in. And it literally maybe takes 30 minutes. And we do it generally around the beginning of the season. So when we're decorating the Christmas tree, which is also another thing I'll talk about in a minute, but so fun. And it's 30 minutes, you guys. And it costs us maybe $10. I noticed this year at Dollar Tree, they had all the supplies we need. So we might even make it a fun little outing after church one day to go to the Dollar Tree, buy all of our supplies with our team members with a budget, because I think that's good money management skills, and then come home and do it. So again, those are kind of the 2 things. They also love to go see Santa at Bass Pro Shop, so we'll do that. But simple things are what matters to them. They love decorating the tree as a family. That is one of my other tweaks that I've made is if it's a chore that I have to do, like decorating, how can I invite the family into the process? It does take a little of you have to let go of control. Our Christmas tree, though, is full of family ornaments. So literally, it's like a walk down memory lane. So that's another really fun thing. We get eggnog, we blast the music. I have the best memories, literally, of my mom and sister and I dancing our heart out, decorating the Christmas tree to Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas. So that is definitely on the playlist. But okay, so tweak number 1, ask your family what they want to do this Christmas. And then number 2, the next thing you need to do is plan now. Pencil it in, put it on the calendar, look at your weekends and say, okay, where are we going to do this? I mean, everything from decorating for Christmas. I know it seems like overkill, but again, having a plan for like, okay, this seems like right now, I looked at our November calendar and I was like, you know what? November 15th and 16th, all we have is a Friendsgiving. And that would be a great way to end our decorating. So maybe it's the 18th and 19th. Just kidding, friends. Anyway, it's 2 weeks before Thanksgiving this year because Thanksgiving is super duper late. And so I just put it on the calendar like that Friday night when Scott gets home from work. It is a tradition that my kids pull the bags up from the basement. They did it when they were teeny tiny. I have the video. It was the cutest thing. Like a 4-year-old Solon and a 2-year-old Vera, they're pulling up the Christmas tree from the basement. Darling. It's one of my favorite videos ever. And so they recreate it every year, partly for themselves and partly for me. Like the tiniest traditions matter, folks. This is the reminder I want to give you. But I'm putting that on the calendar for Friday night. And then I'll decorate Saturday morning. They'll help me. And then we'll go to a Friendsgiving Saturday evening. And it's going to be so fun. So that's already on the calendar. That might be the weekend, that Sunday that after church we do the Christmas ornament showdown. I'll probably pencil that in. We already have on the calendar when we're going to go see Santa. And so I think it's just really important that if you want those things to happen, you put them on the calendar. This also goes for when are you going to celebrate with your extended family? So this year, you probably have seen, if you follow me on social media, my younger sister lives overseas. She lives in Luxembourg. And this season, she's coming home for Christmas. And I can't tell you the last time I only have one sibling, but my entire family was together for Christmas. I am so excited. I have twin niece and nephew. They're going to be one November 30th, and a niece who is 6, and then my kids, and we're all going to be at my parents' for Christmas. I'm telling you, I can't even explain the amount of joy I have. Um, but that means like we had to plan that, obviously. Like we're coordinating families from halfway around the world. So we plan that really early. And that also means I need to plan for when I'm going to celebrate with Scott's side of the family. And they aren't as early planners, and that's fine because most of their growing up years, all of their family was really close by. I think part of my planning early is because we moved around every 2 years and we never lived close to family. So therefore, in order for the logistics to happen, we needed to plan in advance. So this year, since we're going to be in Arizona on Christmas Eve, which that takes some planning too. We leave Christmas Eve and we'll meet my whole family there. Scott's family, we are planning on celebrating Christmas at Thanksgiving. So, and again, I remind people it's okay if you're going to celebrate Christmas at Thanksgiving and you're like, "Oh, but I want the tree and everything to be up." I'm just telling you, it's okay to take a time out and use Thanksgiving plates. I'm giving you permission to use Thanksgiving plates on Thanksgiving and then go back to Christmas. I have always decorated before Thanksgiving because I run a small business, and Black Friday through Cyber Monday and then into the Christmas season is bananas for me. And I don't want to be stressed about decorating. I absolutely love it. Also, as soon as Christmas is over, the decorations are gone for me. So earlier the better to enjoy it. And I want to enjoy it for more than 3 weeks. Okay, so plan and reserve now. Like the best time to buy Christmas plane tickets is yesterday, but by the beginning of November. So you're listening to this now. If you need to buy plane tickets, reserve hotel rooms, get rental cars, you need to be doing all of that so that you're getting the best bang for your buck. Okay, the next thing when it comes to planning for Christmas, I know I'm a broken record, but when you are having to do all of your normal stuff and then you're adding on the top of that all the holiday stuff, you need to make sure you're planning your regular stuff really well. So this is where meal planning, your weekly planning habit comes in clutch. You know that I love to sit down on Fridays, plan out my work schedule for the following week, plan out our weekly family schedule. Scott and I keep all of our long range dates in our phone, including, and you might think I'm crazy, but I'm telling you, when we're going to put up the Christmas tree, when we're going to go see Santa, when we're going to do the Christmas ornament exchange, all of that's in my long range calendar so that nothing else steals that time. And then once a week, I put it in to my weekly schedule and then I plan meals accordingly. I'm telling you, it is a game changer for keeping your life simple. You like everything, all the moving pieces and everything, you have so much going on in your brain that it's easy for things to slip out, right? Like I talked at the beginning of the podcast about like you remember what you need to get at the store when you get home, right? Like it's the same thing at the Christmas season. Like there's just so much. It pops out of your brain, and having it written down, having it so that everyone can see it is just going to simplify your life on purpose. So if you've never meal planned, you've never written out your weekly schedule, I'm telling you, this is the time of year to do it so that you can just keep your mind as sane as possible. You know what's coming, and you can anticipate like, oh, you know what? We've got a lot going on. That's the next thing, is to leave space in your calendar. There's actually this science that less stuff in your home makes time move slower. I didn't make that stuff up. You can look it up. Less stuff in your home makes time move slower. I also believe that could translate to less stuff on your calendar makes time move slower. You know how busy your calendar is, how busy a week can go when there's just like a bajillion things on the calendar. And I know you can't get rid of everything, but I think knowing that, and if you want to savor the holiday season, being very intentional about gatekeeping your schedule this time of year. If you want the season to move a little bit slower, How can you leave your schedule a little bit more open so it's not jam-packed full of things? Again, go back to what is it that your family loves the most? Focus on those 3 to 5 things. And then, you know what? Let some of the rest of it go. We don't do the Polar Express. You might not do the Christmas cards this year. You might not wrap every present with like all the things, right? Like one of the things that I do not do is wrap my presents super beautifully. Like there are friends in my life who that is a gifting they have. And I used to compare myself to them. And then I realized I don't have to compare myself to them in their gift giving. Like that is a gift they have, and I can admire it and I can appreciate it. And then I can wrap my gifts in just like plain old wrapping paper and slap a sticker on and call it good, right? Leave a white space in your calendar, and I'm telling you, you'll be able to savor the season a little bit longer. Okay. And the next thing I want you to do when it comes to holiday planning is to think about creating a holiday to-do list, a holiday brain dump. Now, the reason I think that this is really important is because if everything is important and everything is prioritized today, it's really hard to know like what is the next step, what matters most right now. That's why I created the Mary Made Easy holiday checklist. It goes from planning to gift giving to hosting. It has all of the things you need to think about so that then you can create your holiday checklist. And then, like a good brain dump, you can prioritize what needs to be done now, what needs to be done in early November. Or maybe the question is, what can I do in early November that my future December self will thank me for? In the coming weeks, we're going to talk about setting up a gift giving station, setting up your gift giving shopping list. Some of those things, like my photo book and maybe your Christmas cards. But looking at so first you're going to just brain dump. These are all the things I have to do this holiday season. And don't panic, right? Just write it all down like a good old brain dump. And then from there, those 5 squares on the right side of your brain dump that I always tell you is priority number 1, priority number 2, priority number 3, 4, 5. I want you to think of it in blocks of time. So like early November, mid-November, late November, early December, mid-December, right? Because our goal is to get things done so that we can enjoy the holiday season. So then you can take all your list, your brain dump list that you've written out, and then you can plug into where that needs to be. So then like, this is what I can do now. This is what I'm going to do mid-November. This is what I'm going to do late November. This is what I'm going to do early December, then mid-December. It is so helpful to prioritize that way because then that these are the things I need to do now. So I would highly recommend doing that. That way you're less likely to forget things. Now, here's the next step. I talk about this in the book. So sneak peek. I don't think I'm supposed to do that, but podcast listeners always get a special sneak peek. Stop, drop, and roll. This is how I brain dump. So you're going to stop and you're going to brain dump because we know that is if your hair is on fire about the holiday season, we know stop, drop, and roll can put out a fire. Am I right? So we're going to stop and then we're going to drop. We're going to drop all the things that we need to write down and then we're going to roll because now we have a prioritized to-do list. But the P in drop, after you drop all the things down and then you rank and organize, prioritize. The last part of the brain dump is to purge. Okay. What are some things on your list that you do not need to do? Or you can invite others into. So, point in case for me, gift wrapping, my daughter, who is 13, she loves to gift wrap. About Lucille's age, she's 9. I've taught all my kids how to gift wrap. I think it's an important life skill for boys and girls alike. So I've taught them how to gift wrap. My boys can do their sibling gifts now. So I've delegated that. That's their own job. And if it looks like they wrapped it, I think it's precious. It just goes under the Christmas tree. And then my daughter, she will help me. We'll turn on some tunes. Maybe we'll turn on a holiday Christmas music and gifts that aren't for like our family, like Nana and Papa or Grandma and Grandpa. And they're already in a box, so she doesn't know what's inside. I have her help me wrap. And it is so helpful. It's more fun, turning a chore into an activity that we can enjoy together. So that's a way to purge. Maybe there's something else that you're like, you know what? I had space for that in my previous years, but given our current season of life, like for me, my son is going to be playing high school basketball Tuesdays and Fridays in December. That's going to add to the level of busyness. Is there something that I can let go of that maybe I've done in the past, but for this season, we're just going to set it aside? It's not something super important to my family. And for one of the things that we might not do this year is our Advent activities, which, by the way, you get free with any purchase, but it's these little cards and it's just a little something you can do every single day with your family. It's free with purchase all month until supplies, while supplies last. But we might not do that this year just because we're not going to be home as much. But we did it every single year when my kids were little and they loved it. So, but my kids haven't mentioned it lately, so I'm going to maybe let that go. We'll see. Okay, so give yourself permission to simplify. All right. Are there things you can let go this year? Maybe they don't matter. Maybe your season's changed, whatnot. You can let that go. Another thing I've delegated is like the evening tasks that adults do between December 1 and this is sounding dirty. It's not. You know that little friend? I've delegated that. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. Okay, you probably know who that is. Okay, I've delegated that to my teenagers and they love it and I don't have to worry about it. Okay, next thing is last piece I just want you to think about is declutter now for a couple of reasons. I was just talking to Mo. She's in our online community and she messaged me the other day and she said, help, I need a tweak for my basement back room. It's a mess. And so her and I walked through it. Oh my goodness. I shared it on social media. It is incredible what she was able to do. And it didn't take her as long as she thought. And the one thing she took away from the whole experience of decluttering her back room was like she was glad she did it because it gave her a new perspective as she went into the holiday season about like, what do I really want? What like is going to just add clutter, all those sorts of things. And I love that mentality. I also love the idea of the kids purging and letting go and paying it forward. So we have a local place in our community that sets up a Christmas room. And I love it. And families that qualify can go and not purchase, go and get things for free. So they ask you if you have gently used items, new items, that you could take them to this Christmas store, including Christmas decorations. And I think they, need to be in by, December 10th. And they put it out and families can come shop. And I love that idea. And so that's something that we can participate in, my kids can buy into, and we also declutter so that we can, make room in our home. So just an FYI, look for something like that in your area. Places like Goodwill and Salvation Army and the DAV, they don't want Christmas decorations out of the Christmas season. So as you're decorating, and we'll talk about this in the coming weeks, please get rid of all the things that you don't want so that other people can enjoy them and you donate them, like I said, because they don't want them out of season. Okay, and then the last thing I want to say is it's okay to try something new, be flexible, and be willing to pivot. I am a huge Friends person, and I love that episode where Ross is literally like, pivot. Sometimes we can get so tied to this is what I have always done, and it no longer works, right? But we're so attached to that thing that we just shoehorn it into our life, and actually it turns us into a Scrooge. So, can I encourage you? Like maybe you've always decorated after Thanksgiving, but the Christmas season is only 3 weekends this year. What? Crazy. Maybe this is the year where you say, you know what? We're going to try something new and we're going to decorate the weekend before Thanksgiving just so we can enjoy it a little bit longer. Maybe it's you've always done, you know, a sibling gift exchange and you're not going to all be together this Christmas. And basically at this point, you're just exchanging gift cards and money. Maybe you say, you know what? We're going to do something different this year. We're just going to maybe get together at a different time of year and go out to dinner. And that's going to be our gift to each other. I don't know. I think it's really important. And the only way this is ever going to happen is if we slow down and reflect. Are there things that are working? Are there things that aren't working? When you feel like Scrooge, what is going on? Like, are you trying to cram too much into your schedule? Is your schedule overflowing? Are you trying to shoehorn something that used to be fun but isn't fun anymore? I think it's really important for us to just regularly take stock and say, why am I feeling this way? What can I change? What can I tweak? What can I pivot and be flexible about and be willing to do that? As my kids age, I'm like realizing like in the launching period, these are the last few years where I'm not going to have to deal with in-laws and girlfriends and all of those sorts of things, right? Like our schedule's still our schedule, but we're still having to pivot and be flexible. Like we're probably going to be celebrating Thanksgiving and Christmas at the same time with Scott's parents. We've never done that before, but this year that's just the way it works. And you know what? We're going to make the most of it. So I would just encourage you to be willing to be flexible. Like last year we went to see Santa with my parents at Thanksgiving the day after, and then we went to this brewery that like literally it's like Clark Griswold decorated. It's insane. This is me like as I'm walking around, like where do they store all this stuff? Like they must have to have a storage unit. I mean, it's over the top, but it's so fun. Great for them. Glad it's not me. But we had a blast. And you know what? If we hadn't been flexible and pivoted and being willing to try something new, we would have missed out on this fun tradition that now we get to introduce to Scott's side of the family. Because I was like, hey, we did this last year. Would anybody like to do it? And they were all in. So sometimes the best traditions come from just like the tiniest things and being willing to be flexible. Okay, that is the last thing I want to share. Just remember to embrace the true meaning of the season, to slow down, to simplify, and give yourself space to enjoy the Hallmark movies, the cuddling on the couch, watching those movies. Like, those are some of my favorite memories of just turning off the lights and enjoying the twinkle of the Christmas lights with some hot cocoa, my heated blanket, and all my family. So, I want you to have enough space in your schedule to enjoy those spontaneous moments as well. Okay, so in honor of this season, the tweak of the week is to help simplify. And it comes from two different people talked about this. Susan from The Confident Mom, and the other handle, which I love, is called the Chaos Coordinator of 5. I mean, how is that? That's perfect. I could be the chaos coordinator of 4. But they had similar tweaks, and the Confident Mom said she swears by batch cooking. So in my mind, this is where I'm literally making taco meat tomorrow night, and I'm going to cook 4 pounds of it. I probably am only going to need 2.5 pounds, but I'm going to put that other 1.5 pounds in the freezer, and I've got taco meat for some other night later this season. And I'm going to be thanking myself, right? And it's not any more work to cook 4 pounds of ground beef than it is 2 pounds of ground beef. It may take 2 minutes to put it in a plastic bag and put it in the freezer. The Chaos Coordinator of 5 built on this, and she said, I double cookies, brownies, and some dinner recipes and freeze them for future lunches and dinners. I love this. Last year, I had Dance Around the Kitchen on, and she talked about freezing cookie dough ahead of time so that, like, if you want to decorate cookies, you don't have to make the cookies. They're already made. You just have to thaw them and bake them, and you're ready to go, which I loved this tweak. So think about if you're making something right now, how can you double it, put it in the freezer, and your future holiday self is going to thank you when you already have a simple meal prepared during the busiest time of year. So thank you for those tweak of the weeks. Remember, you can always share those with me, and I would love to share them on the podcast. Okay. Just a reminder, along with this Mary Made Beezy podcast series, there is a blog post. So all the planning tips I shared on here can be read on that blog post, which is in the show notes, along with the Mary Made Easy checklist that's going to talk about all the things I talked about today and all the other things you need to do this season. Also, don't forget to grab your errands notepad for yourself and your girlfriends. It makes a great gift. I love a good practical, consumable, non-cluttery gift that simplifies life. And this is the perfect price point to buy a bunch and give them as teacher gifts, hostess gifts, you name it. You could even add some pens, maybe a little bit of candy, and you've got a great gift. So you can also use the code podcast for 10% off your order, making the deal even better. All right, friends, until next time, I hope this holiday season is merry, made easy, so you can enjoy all the merry memories and moments without feeling like a Scrooge. I'll see you next week, and until then, remember, you don't have to overhaul your life to love it when one simple tweak will do. If you liked this episode, it would mean so much if you'd share it with a friend or leave a quick rating and review so others can find our show. Until next time, you can find me at Simple Purposeful Living on Instagram and Facebook.